to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be carrying on the part 1 of my educational journey with ADHD. So I'm just going to just recap on the last 10 minutes of that video and kind of remember what I was on about. So yeah, I'll probably just carry on chatting about it. I know that we kind of got up to where I was going to tell you one of the most, the big thing that I did in year 9, at the very start of year 9, when we started going on school trips. I was banned from that day forward. So let's get on with this video. Remember to subscribe, like and share my videos all across social media so we can carry on raising the awareness of ADHD. So yeah, so I just quickly recapped on my own video. I forgot what I was even talking about the last time. So we were talking about, we got up to where, we started to see the pattern in my behaviour decline through year 7, 8 and 9. So we got onto the part where I said, I'm going to tell you the worst thing I did in year 9 at the beginning that kind of got me kicked out of all school trips. So I'm going to get on and talk to you about that. So in the beginning of year 9, I picked to do drama as an option. So I ended up picking photography, drama and dance. I hated it, but I had to do it. So I picked those 3. Pretty much never turned up to any of them, except from, photography I grew to love and now it's my passion. So, but drama, let's just say drama was not my thing. The teacher didn't like me. I wasn't passionate about their subject, so they weren't passionate about teaching me their subject. But I picked it because all of the people that I was hanging around with at the time were going to drama, and it was like, yeah, let's go cause drama, and I did. So, oh goodness, it's like embarrassing to talk about now because I don't know, but yeah. So, let's get started on that juicy topic. So this big juicy thing that I did, here we go. So it was the beginning of year 9, probably about 2 or 3 weeks into year 9. Courses and the options that I picked were getting, kicked off now. We had 3 weeks to really find our passion for that subject.
I never did, but hey ho.
Doesn't matter. So I was nominated along with 20 other children in the class because they were only taking 20 people per class. So I was nominated, don't know why, nominated. And well, it's a bad idea that they nominated me, I tell you that. So we were going to go to London and we were going to go watch The Woman in Black, which is a thriller, and it was in stage on London, and I was pretty excited to go, to be honest. I was like, yeah, I'm up for this. My granddad actually paid for it because he was like, I want to encourage great behaviour and blah blah blah. So he paid for me to go. He gave me spending money. And because, like I said, I was working at the paper shop, delivering paper, so I did have my own weekly wage, which wasn't even a great thing. It wasn't even, do you know what? It wasn't a good thing for me because it gave me that bit of independence that I wasn't mature enough to have. You're going to find out why right now. So I'm going to shut up. Right, so yeah, we went to London. We all got geared up to go. We left about 7:30 in the morning, just before school started, to get there for, I think it was the 4 o'clock showing. But we were going to go around London and have a picnic. Well, not picnic, but we're going to have a lunch in, I think it was Hyde Park or something like that. So we went. Yeah, the coach trip there was okay. The teachers knew of my behaviour, and I was still on report card, so I had to take that with me. Every lesson, well, the hour period that we were on, so 9 to 10, I was on that trip. I had to get it signed, and my behaviour was marked hourly. And we didn't get back till 7:30, or no, not 7:30, sorry, 10:30 that night. So the report card was pretty long. But yeah, I didn't need a report card. The school totally knew what I did. Oh goodness, it's so embarrassing. So yeah, the coach trip there was okay. Obviously, I was told off a few times for being too loud and laughing, giggling, and not, listening correctly to the rules. So I was moved to the front to speak and sit next to the tutors and the teachers that were there. I didn't really care that much, I had my headphones in, so I was like, yeah, whatever. So, you know, the coach journey there was normal, or normal for me. So then, you know, we got off the bus and we went to look round like the food markets, because it was all like the teachers wanted to give us like a cultural kind of vibe. They wanted us to feel what London's like around the theatre kind of thing. So we went and done all that rubbish. But this is where it gets juicy, right? I spotted a Cafe Nero and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go to Cafe Nero because it's my all-time favourite coffee shop. And I actually wasn't allowed to have coffee, like my parents weren't, they were not okay with it, but I always used to have like a mocha, like a decaf mocha, which they were okay with because it's no coffee and the chocolate's okay, and I had an iced one. So I was like, I've got some money, I'm going to go over there. And I originally asked the teacher if I could go, and the answer was no, it's out of our boundary, because they set like boundaries around us where we were allowed to go and where we weren't allowed to go. And I was like,
no one says no to me.
it's only over the road, I want to go. The teacher was like, I've said no, that's it, end of. Walk in front of me so I know where you are. And I was like, oh my god. So, you know, I was with they're not my friend now, but they were at the time. I was with one of my friends and I was just like, should we go? And she was like, oh no. I was the one, you know.
The instigator.
I was like, yeah, come on, let's go. And she was like, okay. So I was like, you know, coming up with a plan. I was like, slowly start slipping back. And we did, right? And this teacher was like preoccupied with another student, and I was like, this is our chance, let's go. And two of the other boys that are in this class saw us and they like came with us, which actually worked out to be pretty, because they were pretty nice like lads and they were funny, they were my friends. Yeah, so we went off to Cafe Nero, and let's just say all hell broke loose. My friends ended up like going back because there was like such a big queue in Nero's, and they were like, oh, I'm not gonna wait around. And I was like, well, I want one. So let's just say they went back, they'd done a head count and I wasn't there. Whoa, that was like an issue, but obviously, and my phone starts ringing because they're like, we have to give our mobile phone numbers in just in case we get lost. So and I was like, I'm not picking it up, I don't know who that is. I had an inkling, kind of knew who it was, and I was like, I'm not picking it up, I don't want to speak to a teacher on the phone. So yeah, I just left the phone ringing and carried on in Nero. I was like picking what I wanted. Yeah, can I have a blah blah blah. Brought my drink. The next thing I know, like there's like a search party after me. Like there's random strangers like coming up to me saying like, oh, excuse me, you're the schoolgirl that they're looking for in Hyde Park. And I was like, what? So then I was like, oh my god. So I was like ringing my friend like, oh my god, where are you? And I actually like was genuinely scared at the same time as like kind of finding it funny. But anyway, eventually the teachers came, like, I was walking back up to where I went, and you know, blah blah blah. I got told off for going to Nero's, obviously. So then I was changed groups into another group away from my friends, and I was put in a group with like people I don't even know, and I was gutted because I was like, oh, do I have to sit with them in the theatre? I was like, yeah. I was like, oh god. Anyway, we go into the theatre, and I'm pulled aside by the teacher, like not the head, but like the drama teacher, not these like assistant teachers. So the drama teacher was like, right, I phoned Mr. blah blah blah, who is my head of year, and then I've also phoned Mrs. blah blah blah, that's my mentor, and she wasn't like, she's gonna ring me up in a minute, she wants to speak to you. And I was like, oh my god. And I was thinking, oh, and then I was like, we're going to get hold of your parents because you ran away in London. And I was thinking, no, I didn't. I just crossed over the bloody road. But anyway, that didn't matter. And I was like, okay, I'll wait for the phone call. So we had to stand outside for like 10 minutes waiting for a teacher to ring me. And she rang me and she was like, blah, 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 like, had a good old chit chat, like, why did you do it? Blah.
I was like, I just wanted a coffee. I just wanted to go to Cafe Nero.
And like, we came to an agreement, like, don't do it again, and they won't phone my parents. And I was like, sweet, okay, behave now, Molly, like, you gotta really be sensible. And I said to her on the phone, well, they won't let me sit next to my friends. And she was like, well, let me put her back on the phone and we'll have a chat, right? So they let me eventually like go sit with my friends, and I kicked off then. I was like, I don't want to sit on the end, I want to blah, blah. So then again, I was taken out, put back in. Let's just say in the end I was taken out of the theatre and sat into the coach with my teacher, and she was like, I'm not happy that I'm missing it, but I'm also not happy that you're missing it. And I was like,
blah 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 blah.
And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, you know the general thing. But then we all went to, after it all finished, everyone come back in and, oh, it was rubbish, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, moral of the story was, after the theatre, we went to go get food because obviously, like I say, we were there till 10:30, so we all had money to go get something to eat. We were only given like one option. I think it was just like a standard fish and chip shop or something like that. So, you know, we took the food back onto, well, we sat outside the coach because we weren't allowed food and on the coach, and that's an important thing, remember, we weren't allowed food on the coach. So, you know, we sat outside, blah, 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 and then we all got back on the coach and needed to go home. So, this is where it gets a little bit more juicy. On the way home, my friend had a nosebleed, right? And it was like hilarious because she was just like freaking out. But I wasn't the one shouting, but I was blamed for shouting. Then I started shouting because I was blamed for shouting. Then I started like throwing sweets on the coach, apparently. I didn't.
I didn't. No, I didn't. No. I did.
Anyway. But that like my other friends were like laughing and proper like being really loud, but I was the only one out of that group that got like taken away. I was put on the very front of the coach, and like I was like, I need the toilet, and they were like, no, we can't stop, we're on the motorway.
So I need the toilet.
And it all, you know, it got pretty, you know, intense in there. I was like, I need the toilet, let me get off the bus, like blah 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 blah. So the coach driver had to pull over on the motorway, like on the hard shoulder thing, like. What happened, there was like a petrol station, so he was like, get back on and we have to go to the petrol station 2 miles from here, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So anyway, we got to the petrol station and I was like, yeah, I'm going to the toilet, blah blah blah, and then I ended up like looking around the shop and buying like donuts and stuff, and I got told off because then we were like really late, and yeah, it was my fault. Oh, it's not, I mean, I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because it's a memory, and it is funny for me because I survived it. And I got my GCSEs, you know, I passed drama, I passed them all, but the moral of the story is, you know, in year 9, I definitely started to spiral out of control, and it ended up, you know, I went back to school. It was a Friday, we went to the theatre. Nobody spoke to my parents because it was the weekend, so it kind of worked out in my favour, and I thought, oh, I've gotten away with this, you know, yes, I've gotten away with it. No, so on the Monday we went back to school, whoa. As soon as I stepped foot in the building, it was almost like all the teachers kind of like got around me, and I was like, oh my god. That scene out of Monsters Inc. where that person has the sock on their back, that like monster has the sock on their back, and they call it like a code, blah blah blah. It was pretty much like that. Like all these teachers like swarmed me, we need to talk to you, and I was like, oh, what have I done? Completely acting like innocent. I didn't do anything. You know, again, I'm going to hurry up, I don't want to be boring you all, but then I got taken to the inclusion room, which is, like I explained to you, it's like rooms with like boards in them that they separate every child. All your privileges are taken away, mobile phones, you know, everything. You weren't allowed to go out for lunch, or, you know, basically you just had to sit in a room all day with a teacher. That's your worst nightmare, right? It kind of like, I had to write a sorry letter to the coach company because I apparently damaged their property, you know, all of this stuff, but it wasn't my nose that was bleeding, and I was trying to like say that's not my blood, you know, that I was genuinely concerned that people thought that was me that was bleeding. That was the only thing that I was worried about, because I was like, I didn't damage it. I didn't care about like my parents having to find out. It was like, well, I don't care, what, you know. Basically, you know, my parents were called in and I was excluded, had to apologise to the company. But it wasn't even my fault. Like, still to this day, I tell you, I didn't damage anything on that coach. I may have been involved in, you know, throwing the sweets and stuff, but I definitely didn't put chewing gum and all that sort of stuff they tried to blame me for. The moral of this part is, I want to say, like, because I was the child that did, you know, I did have behaviour problems, and they were very, very aware of that, you know, I feel to this day that I was unfairly treated in that scenario, sorry, because I didn't do what they said that I did, but because I had this, you know, I had this reputation, I was blamed like straight away, and I couldn't just say I didn't do that because nobody was believing me, you know. I was just like, I couldn't get away with that, like not even get away with it, I couldn't fight my own corner because it was like, well, you're the one that's got the history of misbehaving, so who am I going to believe? You or your friends that don't even have a behaviour point? And I was like, but that's not fair because it wasn't me. But again, you know, because I had the stigma behind me of my bad behaviour, I was stuck doing all four of those people's punishments on one. I was excluded. That was my first time being excluded. And it wasn't even for something that I did. I had to take the blame because nobody believed me that I didn't do it. But anyway, I did pretty much like 75% of what they said, but the 25% like damaging, that wasn't me. That was the reason like I was like mainly excluded, was because I didn't follow instructions, but I was banned from school trips from that day forward. Part that I was trying to tell you about the last video, but it cut off. So you know, this is part 2. So yeah, that's the year 9, beginning of year 9. That was like the big thing, like 3 weeks into year 9. So you can just kind of imagine what the rest of the year went like. And I definitely don't need report cards to tell me, because I'm gonna let you guys know like what's up here, because I remember it all. Yeah, so yeah, let's go. Right, so this part is where I'm going to have to explain a little bit, and I'm going to go quite fast. I talk naturally fast anyway, but I'm just going to go a bit faster so we're not here for 2 hours. Right, so actually, do you know what, when the train tracks, right, people say like, some people like when they tell stories they just follow the train track, and other people go like this. That is me. That is so me. I don't...
Anyway, shut up, Molly. Shut up. Focus.
Right. So, at the beginning of year 10/year 9, end of year 9, beginning of year 10, I was given a new mentor because my mentor, Mrs. M, couldn't handle me, and the head teacher said that I was grinding her down and she couldn't cope with my behaviour. She was still my mentor, but I also had another mentor, and this mentor that I had was called Mrs. C. She was, let's just say, she was really, really tall, very intimidating, cracked down on my behaviour, I tell you that. She just, you know, she could handle her own. She was very hot-headed, stubborn, basically like she was my match as a teacher. So you can imagine how many like pretty much like fights we had, not fights but like arguments that we had, and it was all to do with like I wore incorrect uniform all the time. I wore what I wanted to wear, wore hoodies, wore Vans to school, wore jeans instead of my trousers, put headphones in all the time, brought banned like objects into school. I mean like drinks and that, like sweets, drinks, mobile phones, MP3 players, iPod touches, you know, things like you're just not meant to, you know, wear or buy, like bring in. And basically, you know, we had many stand-up rows, and I mean like face to face. She was tall, and I mean tall. If you can imagine like an ex-military woman, you know, like that, that's her. Like she was 100% scary, but it didn't intimidate me. I did not care. That gave me more of the buzz. I was like, I'm gonna annoy you today. I know how to get on your nerves, because she always rose to it in a way that it just gave me more buzz, because I was bored at school. Nothing was stimulating my mind. Everything that was stimulating my mind was annoying her, and that's what I did. If I could get a GCSE in that, I'd be like A star, trust me, I'd be ace at that. So yeah, one day I printed off loads of leaflets of her and just threw them down the stairs of my school. There's spiral stairs, went to the top, dropped all the leaflets, and as I was walking down, it was like, I've just seen you do that. I was like, no, I didn't do nothing. I was with like I had like another friend that was a lot younger than me, that was in a few years below, and I was not a great example. We're still friends to this day, you know, not friends, but we're acquaintances. We have a chat here and there. And let's just say I called her my young apprentice, and that did not go down very well. My parents were called purely because I said that, not because I threw the stuff down the stairs. Apparently I was like basically threatening them because I was going to train her up or something, and I was like, oh my god, it was a joke. But anyway, that's not the story. I threw all that stuff down the stairs, right, and that day we got given a letter about behaviour, and I just watched it on the corridor, didn't know she was behind me. I don't even think I knew, I don't think. I was with, again, my friend of the younger year and a couple of her friends. So I kind of felt like I needed to be a bit more like, yeah, like hard. And I just ripped up this letter and just threw it in the air again, confettied. And she was right behind me, and, you know, there's no way I could say I didn't do it, but I did. I was determined I did not do it. I was like, I didn't do it. And she was like, oh my god. So I just walked off, went into lesson. She was calling my name for ages, standing outside waiting for me to go out, because, you know, but I didn't, you know. I was like, I'm not coming out. I didn't do anything. I was like determined that I didn't do it. So anyway, long story short, bad report card. I was put in isolation a couple of days after this whole event because things went on, and I mean things went off the rails.
Things went crazy.
Things escalated a couple of days after, like I'm telling you. And then this is the part that I don't think's fair, but it is fair in a way that is not fair. Oh, I don't know, you'll just have to listen and make your own opinion up on this. Basically, right, it was all put into an assembly, and I was in a tutor group that I didn't get on with my tutor. She was 24 or 5 or something. And again, I was like coming up 14, so she's only about 10 years older than me. And I knew were her weaknesses were. I did what I wanted. I didn't care what she said, basically. So, she put me in alphabetical order. So my name's Brooks, right? So I had to go to the front, and I was the very front because I was like, no, I wasn't, sorry. There's like a few boys in front of me. Then it was B. So I was like, oh God, I don't want to sit at the front. So when we were all sat down and stuff, I then like started to like move back.
Go away!
Go to where I wanted in the line and where I wanted to sit. And I did that, and we was all called in alphabetical order basically, and I wasn't there, and I refused to go in that line. I, didn't want to do it. So anyway, I ended up having to sit at the very end next to this tutor, next to this teacher. Weren't having it again. So, oh, whatever. But I gave in because I just thought, oh. Yeah, so I wasn't having that. And let's just say, I sat in where I wasn't meant to sit, but next to her kind of thing. I ended up having to sit next to her. So I did, and I had my phone out the whole time. Then I heard people start like getting called up, and I was thinking, they're not good, like they can't be winning a mass award or something. Like, why are they going up? So I kind of just like started listening. And then my name got called, and I was like, what? Am I getting called? Basically, I refused to go up because I was like, I don't want people staring at me. So then we all went, like, eventually, like, these two teachers came over to me and restrained me and put me at the front of this hall, and I was like, I don't want to do it. So I was like, proper putting up a fight, right? I was like, no, I'm not having it. I don't know why I'm up here, blah, blah, blah. Then they started to say, these people here are going to be the reason why our Ofsted or something fail, or our behaviours reports fail. And I was like, I literally turned around and was like, how effing rude is that? Like, I was shouting in assembly in front of like, I don't know how many year groups. It's probably about over 200, 300 kids in that room. And I was like, how effing rude, and I was really shouting. Then I started to walk out, and like the behaviour management teacher, I had nothing to do with her, we did not get on, and the teachers decided we don't mix because it was fiery, we did not get on. It was like mixing 2 potions together and things like poof, it was crazy. Anyway, that's not it. But yeah, they then, right, as I walked out, I felt like people were pulling me back. And I mean like pulling me, and I was like physically fighting them. I was like, get off. And I was like pretty much having a tantrum, a meltdown. I was fuming. And obviously they had the right to restrain me because they thought I was going to hurt myself or other people. I was a threat. I know all that, okay. But at that time, like, I did not care. And I was like, how dare you touch me, blah, blah, blah. Moral of that story is, again, I ended up apparently assaulting a teacher. I didn't, but I was defending my right. I didn't want to be touched, and I was really angry. I wasn't excluded though, because my parents fought my corner here. Like, how rude was it to put me up in front of a whole year, like 2 or 3 year groups, and tell them? That's kind of like victimising me in front of other people. And that wasn't not on, and I didn't agree with that, and I definitely stood up for myself. So let's just say, I'm going to leave it here, and things got like escalated even from there. I was then excluded the next day because I had a massive row with that teacher. Remember to subscribe, like and share my videos all across social media so we can carry on raising the awareness of ADHD. So yeah.